To a CBC exclusive now. We have new details tonight about the death an elderly woman faced after she was forced to wait for 3 hours for an ambulance. We first told you about the 87-year-old earlier this year. Now, CBC News has obtained an internal investigation that sheds new light on the challenges faced by EMS. Stephen D'Souza joins us now. What does that report say, Steve?
That's right. Here is the report, and it says that at one point across the entire city, there was just one ambulance available. It also says that dispatchers were overworked and there were just too few paramedics on the road. It also has some idea, though, on how this could be prevented in the future. When ambulances are dispatched, every second counts, but you don't expect to wait hours for EMS to arrive.
When you're calling, it could be hit and miss. If it's a bad day, you may be waiting a while.
That warning comes after a 52-page internal report into the death of an 87-year-old woman at a retirement home. She waited more than 3 hours for an ambulance. The report found the initial call for abdominal pains was deemed a low priority. Dispatchers told them they'd have to wait.
Toronto ambulance, where do you need us?
7 times an ambulance was dispatched. Each time it was rerouted to a more serious call. The report found dispatchers were overwhelmed and the call got lost in the shuffle. The report quotes one saying, "It was the busiest day I ever worked." All the dispatchers were frustrated to the point of trying to keep their heads above water. "I never stopped for 12 hours.
No one should have to wait an hour for an ambulance.
The report calls for more paramedics. But while 65 were hired earlier this year, the union says it falls short of the more than 200 a city report says is needed.
From what I'm hearing, there's really been no improvement. If anything, things are maybe worse.
The report also found that at one point that night, with so many calls, there was just one ambulance available for the entire city. EMS says with recent hires and more to come, that isn't happening as frequently.
We've maximized our resource and we improved our efficiency, so we don't get into those types of situations as often.
He says shifts were also changed to better serve evenings and weekends.
That schedule was 35 years old, so it really didn't reflect on the demands of the system.
But the union says there are still challenges that should worry the public.
They should be very concerned, especially if it's immediately life-threatening situation.
Now, EMS says they're also working with the province to hire more dispatchers so they can deal with the challenges of a growing and aging city.
And in your story, you touched on the subject of improving efficiency. Would combining, then, ambulance and fire that's been talked about have helped in this case?
That's often an issue because a lot of times fire service are the first to arrive, but EMS says that they don't have the proper training to deal with assessing problems as well as transporting people who are sick as well. There was a report earlier this year saying that merging the two just isn't the best and most efficient option.
All right, thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome.